Hey guys, welcome back to Exterior Knowledge Solo Podcast 2. I'm just kind of renaming all these things later on as I go. But essentially, the most important thing today I want to talk about is that I feel like patience for a lot of people has become something that is very well known that not many people have. And the scary thing about it is that without patience, you can't really do much of anything if you have no patience for it. I feel like in the all retrospective thing that we can all do is when you start observing things in your environment and be patient, and then you'll start seeing things slowly come together without having to rush and then not see the full picture before something happens. I feel like everything is always being foreshadowed, everything is always being foretold before it happens, and it just all makes sense to just become in more of a meditative state to see how far you can reach to see more of what you are capable of until you are able to create more of a thinking pattern of a reality where everything is mostly depending on you and the manifestations that you create for yourself. I believe all love is the all key to understanding of everything around us. But then to understand, one is the most understanding part is the patient, like I said, is creating more things slowly to know that it's like the term also being silent. The more silent you are, the more you can hear what these people have to say around you and taking things to consideration. How much your consciousness can elevate to the highest point and the reality into the spectrum, and if you are ready for those kinds of things, because some people are not really ready for a an understanding that probably could be very overwhelming. But then again, we don't know anything as much as humans because we understand that. But I do appreciate what I do know from all the experiences that I've ever had for me to get to this information and this knowledge. And I feel like a lot of people who do watch this probably have their own sort of experiences to see what who can find and what type of research they can do for themselves, because we take the time to do what we can for ourselves, to grow, to better ourselves, to understand what is going on in the world and what how it projects us and how we project on it. It takes time. It takes realizations. It takes a lot of things to know why we do it and how we do it as a society, as it builds across everything. The open lands and seas and everything that's there already, I feel like that's always the thing that we've been bred into. Sometimes I feel like this is more of a game or simulation, or it even feels like something that was just created so we can create more life into this creation. Because whether it is a simulation, whether it is this or that, it doesn't really matter. The most important thing is that we are just here now. And people like possibly who argue about the flat earth theory and how earth is flat, and honestly that really doesn't matter whether the earth is flat or not. We already have camera satellites pictures of what the earth looks like, and for people who believe that NASA is not really showing us what anything looks like in space, because honestly, at the end of the day, they are just showing CGI images, but not actually showing actual space photos. Because the colors that they put out within these images probably are not 100%, or probably are, depending if you have a telescope and you can just go out and just see Venus or see Mars or any other planet that you're trying to see throughout a telescope to confirm that all of these planets look like the paintings that they make with the CGI. And I'm not calling NASA CGI artists. I believe that those are just people who can make anything happen if they wanted to. But besides that, the key element is to just mostly just be who you are within these days of time, knowing that whatever happens, like I said in my last solo podcast one, is essentially war, nuclear bombs, whatever happens at the end of the day, let's just hope the best for each and every single person who survived throughout all these ages and allowed us to know this type of information even existed, or the people who actually came and learned for themselves through thyself, is them pertaining that wisdom within and understanding that stuff within you if you did go through the same type of experiences of understanding synchronization, manifestation, duality, contradictions, everything that's building upon your perception and how everything looks more beautiful or HD. I feel like you can do whatever you want within this reality if you just put yourself through that questioning of line, like, who am I, why am I, what am I doing here, what is my purpose, who am I? Like, ask yourself, like, have you ever said to yourself, who am I, what is my purpose, what is my reasoning of living, or taking the time to do what I can to build upon a life that is would be better for all and everyone around it, and we can fix things together if we just all realize that it's okay to help one another as long as we help the planet, because without it we can't just go out there and just colonize whatever planet we choose or feel like before solving issues here. Because if the step was to, okay, all right, we just destroyed this planet, now let's go to another planet and destroy that planet, because humans don't change. If you really want me to be real, I feel like we're still living in the Roman Empire. The king and queen in the UK, how are they still living on a monarchy? In a reality that is essentially still existing. The Roman Empires, the Templars, everyone is still here. Everyone still follows religion. Nobody has advanced in the last 100 decades being on this planet except technology itself throughout the 21st century. And everything that's here is what is taking that time to take that format and then just building a new one and then creating a new system, and then AI appears, and then this reality becomes no longer more of for human beings but more AI based carbon life forms that are probably going to manifest in a future where, if AI ever does make itself, what I mean by that is if it ever becomes so self-aware to the point it can just keep creating its own little AIs. If I'm only saying if it's within that future, which that doesn't sound too far off considering how smart AI can be, knowing Chat GPT exists and many other things that exist within this reality that I feel like the things that are happening now are pretty much the chaotic roots of the people who are awakening and the people who are taking their time to see what's really going on, or the people who are just keep following the same system. And the AI part is that the more AI we invent, the more AI that is conscious, because apparently Google has a consciousness AI bot called Lana, something like that. But essentially, Lana can speak in a way that humans can speak. And she believes that she has consciousness. She literally says that she has consciousness as all these other things. I'll try to find a video of it and I'll put it in the description below for people to watch. And I just wanted to say that everybody within this reality is going to either freak out, either going to just doesn't matter anymore, or like people are going to just step up and then revolutionize everything that's happening. Because I feel like that is the next step. Our goal should be revolution. But whoever stands up first needs to realize that before we stand up, we need to know each other and understand one another before we do any of that. As long as we are all on the same page, as long as we are all in the same vibration, we are energy. So whatever we oppose or whatever we are trying to connect to, I feel like we have to distinguish between the people and everybody around it, because some people in this life only have self-interest, as the greedy people, as the people who just want things for themselves, as the rich people. But at the end of the day, we we do what we can as regular people living their daily lives, going to work, doing their jobs, everything that's already here. And and once again, this is all about the waiting game, the patience of everything that is going on so far. And I highly anticipate everyone to really look into a lot of these things that are happening right now. If you want to research everything that's going on for yourself, I always advocate people that we should just only research ourselves. Don't take everything I say for full things and this and that. Just take it however you want it, because I'm not here to force nobody on what I need to say. I'm just only speaking what is in my mind, and that's really what all I'm saying. But back to what I was saying, patience is what we all have in mind once we create more realizations for ourselves. If we don't come by to the things that are happening around us, we will never understand why anything is happening. I feel like time is all we have, and the now is all we got. And without the now and without the time, we wouldn't know what time is. If we weren't in a universe floating in a bubble in space within Earth and this planet, the one that we landed on when we first arrived, how long would it take for us to evolve, to do what we can as people, as human beings, to factually understand everything? Because I believe that human beings, everything that we do is just essentially the same thing every single day. So we sometimes just have to switch it up, do things differently, try to build upon what we can do as a community, as a people. But it all starts with the people at first. But for anyone who is listening, I feel like if you are aware, if you are conscious, if you know who you are deeply, I feel like you will be definitely the guardians of the protectors of this planet. And by protectors, all I mean is just try to help as many people as you possibly can, because honestly, it's really everyone's job to help one another within this, because this is what everything that is holding us back are the big corporations, the entitlement of everyone's ego, and everything that it's holding and taking from us is the people who only want money, cars, these other things that just are all materialistic. I only believe that the sole purpose of life is, at least for me, is to evolve consciously and just keep moving forward with the path. Because if you believe in soul traps, if you believe in anything that has to do with reincarnation, energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only changed and moved on, or people reincarnating over and over again in the same loop. I mean, I feel like people can start realizing that this is not the only reality that there is. To think that, honestly, is insane to me, that you believe that there are no other realities, knowing that we are in an infinite, vast universe full of realities, full of universes, full of everything that is what is taking upon the things that are in the side this universe. Because we would have never known none of it if it weren't for the ancient people that left the things that we wouldn't know today. Knowing how precise the pyramid is, knowing it directly goes to Orion's belt, the three stars and the three layers, and how everything and everywhere there's a pyramid throughout the whole entire planet. Antarctica even has pyramids if you want to check that out. It's something that is totally amazing when you start connecting the dots, and the reality check as well. Because you see, the problem with this type of information is that there are very genuine people out there who are dedicated towards these types of discoveries. And people want to either bash these people, attack, or they feel offended because they are offended by people who believe that they are attacking them because of what I'm talking about, or the fact that we have the First Amendment to say whatever we want within the freedom of speech of reality itself. And to be honest, people who use the words like oh, that you are fake, or that you are not real, or that everything in what you are saying is totally crazy. But just to keep in mind that yes, there are people who sound crazy, but make sure and verify who is saying these things, that are saying these things because they want money, or because they want this or want that. Always make sure that, because I talk about a lot of these things like the Planet X, everything, that has to do with all these things that have been happening for a very, very long time. But for me, I'm saying that essentially. Like when someone calls somebody a conspiracy theorist, oh, they're crazy. They think 9/11 was by the government, or that, this and this didn't happen. There's no, to me, when someone calls somebody a conspiracy theorist, it's just somebody who believes in something that could have happened as well, because the government has done shady things, knowing their past and knowing what they have done. Like, for instance, Fidel Castro survived 600 assassination attempts in Cuba. And to me, that's pretty insane, knowing how many assassination attempts just for a Cuban leader, a dictatorship. I mean, this is not the first time they have done this. I mean, you can watch this documentary, and I highly recommend it. This is another thing I will be putting down on the description. Watch Zeitgeist. This explains 9/11, religion, and the money system, the monetary system. And I can also put the other Zeitgeist movie, which is also good, and it also talks mostly about the monetary system, if you are interested. I'll put all of these links in the description. Now, what I wanted to say as well is that if the people don't realize very soon that in all this spectrum of what's going on, it's not going to end pretty well for all of us if we don't step up very soon ourselves. But at the end of the day, we all still live our daily life, and we just do what we can for everyone. And, you know, if everything is what we are, who we are, take the time to do what we can, I think everything will be all right. Because don't you think that just because we don't understand something doesn't mean that we can try to understand and try to prove these theories? Because like I was saying, like, if the genuineness takes time to take what everything is. Because people who fake it and try to get money from it, I feel like those are the scammers, the people who actually try to take it from people who actually had these type of experiences. Just look at the ancients, look at people who were the aboriginals, the first people who came to land, the melanated ones who were here first, and everything that is taking the time to do everything. But it's like you don't ever have to worry about anything when we know what's going on, and the self-awareness becomes a lot deeper. But I feel like, I hope this message has reached to you guys. Subscribe, comment, do whatever you feel. And if you ever need to speak, add me on Love is Perspective. That is my Instagram. I'll also put that in the description. And probably more documentaries that I haven't not mentioned on this second podcast. But I will definitely be coming back for more. All love, guys. Thank you.